national debt tsunami coming our way. Now, obviously, the virus, no one saw this coming, despite the media,
right,
faking, doing a head fake on everyone, pretending they were the ones who saw it coming, when they were saying the opposite, by the way, and calling you a xenophobe for the travel ban, which saved hundreds of thousands of lives potentially, but that's a whole other topic. But the national debt tsunami coming our way is a real problem. The entitlements, we just don't have the money. If reelected, and I'm hoping that happens, I don't think I wear my political stripes on my sleeve. Do you have a plan for that? It really seriously keeps me up at night. I'm not kidding.
I do. Now you're right, and it bothers me too, but we're going to get out of it. And I'll tell you, number one, remember this, we're borrowing fairly long-term and long-term money at zero. Okay, that's the good news. Hey, that's the big difference between 0 and 5%. And, my biggest fear was always that. But we're replacing debt with really long-term good debt. Zero, it's a beautiful thing. Our dollar is very strong. The good news is that we have a strong dollar, okay? The bad news is it's harder to do business with other currencies where they're falling. But our currency is really powerful now. It's really strong. We're going to be able to do things that are going to be amazing. We're keeping it strong. We're going to be able, and what that means is we're oversubscribed every time we go out. If we want to do highways and if we want to do whatever we want to do, we're paying zero and we're oversubscribed many times what we ask for. With other places, as you know, don't have such an easy time getting money. Year 5, we will start doing things that will be magic. And importantly, and by the way, you'll always have your Social Security. We're not playing that game. The Democrats will never. They will ruin Social Security because whether it's Medicare for All, any of their plans, they're going to ruin Social Security. By the way, you're going to lose your fifth. You're going to lose, in my opinion, you take your Second Amendment, you take other amendments, but let's take your Second Amendment. You're going to lose your Second Amendment. You're going to lose gun rights. You know that. If they get in, you'll be losing gun rights 100%. It's amazing the shift that they've taken on that. So you're going to lose that. You're going to lose so much. I think it's going to be a very interesting election. I think that the last election, Dan, was so important, and I always said that's the most important. But we need the 4 more years so all this stuff seeds. We've done so much, including tax cuts. They want to raise taxes. They want to do everything the opposite. We're going to have tremendous growth. I think what's happening, I think you're going to have a transition. We're starting that transition soon. That'll be the third quarter. The fourth quarter is going to be incredible. And next year, I think, is going to be comparable to any year we've had. And we'll also be very strong on the bottom line. Now, with all of this, I have to say, the Democrats, every time we want to do something on the military for our defense, the Democrats want something that's terrible. You understand? Not a thing you or your wife would approve. That I can tell you, Dan.
Right.
And you have to go along with it because otherwise you're not going to get the votes. We need their votes. What people don't understand, we may have majority like in the Senate, but it's 53-47. It's a small majority. And we may have, when we had it in the House, it was, you need Democrat votes. And in order to get that, you have to give away things like the last time, Kennedy Center, $25 million. I'm a fan of the Kennedy Center.
People were very upset about that.
I don't want to put that into COVID, but, they demand Kennedy Center. They demanded things that were terrible. But the big picture is we had to get what we had to get for the workers and for the small companies. So you're going to see incredible things happening in year 5 and 6. You're going to be very happy.
Mr. President, I know you're...
But we're going to have great growth. We're going to have I think we're going to have a great next year. It's going to be incredible.
So. And as I've told you personally, I loved your line, we will build it again. That's an optimistic approach.
We're going to build it again.
You gave me goosebumps when you said that. I'm not kidding. Because you did it before.
If I can give you goosebumps, I can give anybody goosebumps. That I can tell you. I know this man. Ladies and gentlemen, I know him very well. The Bongino man. He's a great guy.
Mr. President, just 2 more quick questions for you. I know
not as tough as everyone thinks.
I'm a softie. I'm a big teddy bear. Yesterday, you mentioned in a press conference, and of course, the media, as they always do, misconstrued your comments. You had suggested, and I'm not asking you to get into the intelligence at all, but you had suggested you had seen some evidence that the virus came from the Wuhan lab, not that it was created in the Wuhan lab, which some media folks, I was going to say something different, but out of respect for the office, I will not, said that or implied, I should say, that you were suggesting it was created in the Wuhan lab, which you did not say. Can you just comment on that, please, so we can correct these media?
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. And the question was a straightforward question. And I also really said that we'll be talking to you about it at a later date when we really know some good hard facts. But I've seen a lot of things. I've seen probably every version of most of the things you've heard and some of the things you haven't heard, and you've heard pretty much all of it. But we're going to find out about it. You know, I did an incredible deal. China's been ripping us off for years. Hey, who's talked more about China than me? It was one of the between the border.
Yes.
Do you notice nobody talks? Do you notice
Mr. President, they used to make fun of you on the campaign trail how often you brought up China. And now you notice they flipped the script that you were being soft on China? Well, this is bizarre.
Right.
It's like that you can't.
Well,
they
China
try to
and
retcon
other
history.
countries, but I talked about China as ripping us off more than they were taking out from $300 billion to $500 billion a year out of our country, out of our hides for years. And that is, in all fairness to Sleepy Joe, he had no idea. He has no clue. But Obama and Joe, they ripped them off so badly. But they also did it with previous administrations. I mean, this has gone on for years until I came along. And I've taken in billions and billions of dollars, literally a month. And China's never gave us 10 cents, and now they haven't. Even before the trade deal, remember I put tariffs, 25% on $250 billion. And they targeted our farmers, and I took the money, a small piece of it, because it did. I said, how much did the targets get? Did the farmers get targeted for, Dan? They said, sir, Sonny Perdue, who's the Secretary of Agriculture, doing a great job. They said, sir, 2 years ago it was $12 billion. This year it's $16 billion. I said, good. We'll take $12 billion and we'll take $16 billion out of our tariff money. We have a lot left over, like tens of billions left over from China, and we'll give it. And I gave $12 billion the year before, and they gave $16 billion last year, and we're giving $19 billion this year. Nobody ever did that. And one of the reasons that the other administrations never challenged China is they thought that they'd take advantage of us. I said, no, you're going to pay tariffs of 25% on $250 billion. That's a lot of money. Plus 10% on any money over that. So you're going to pay tariffs. And they did. So we've taken in tens of billions of dollars, and I've been able to help the farmers who were unfairly targeted. I mean, you haven't heard any complaints, I'll tell you. And, you know, the farmers love me and I love them. But the thing about the Democrats, like, as an example, they want open borders. So look how well I've done at the border. That border is sealed, except where farmers need people coming through. You know, we make it actually easier. We can't hurt our farmers, you know, et cetera, with certain people coming through. But the border is sealed, and we built 170 miles of wall already, and it's moving forward at a rapid rate. Every week we build 2, 3, 4, more miles. I'll have by early next year, the wall will be complete. Nobody ever talks about it. You know, the Democrats don't talk about it because they now know that was a bad political move. They opposed me on the wall. And Dan, I'll say nobody else but me could have gotten that wall. We had the Democrats. I got $738 billion for the military, but they wouldn't give you 10 cents for a wall. And we're building the wall. 170, over 100, I think it's 172 miles as of today. And in the area where the wall is, nobody comes in. That wall is a powerful wall. That was done. We went to the Border Patrol and we said, give us your ultimate wall because I'll build the ultimate. Might as well do it right. And we built them a wall which is concrete and steel. It's got every aspect in it. And it's loaded up with the wall is loaded up with very sensitive equipment and everything else. So we have a wall, and in that 170 miles, it's like a new life for the people on the other side. But people can't come through, so it's been very good. But they don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah. And
they don't talk about the fact, Dan, that they want open borders where everyone pours into our country. But we don't allow that.
Mr. President, last question for you. So the recent revelations against General Mike Flynn, an American patriot, are beyond disturbing. As a former federal agent myself,
absolutely,
what happened to him is an international disgrace and an embarrassment. I personally don't have a lot of faith in Director Wray, but what can FBI Director Wray, what can the FBI and DOJ do to ensure this never happens again? And do you trust Director Wray to enact reforms to ensure innocent Americans are not targeted again with a scheme like what happened to General Flynn?
It's a disgrace what happened to General Flynn. It was a setup from day one. You picked it up in about 2 hours, okay? And by the way, the other side knows it was a scam, but it's not to their advantage. Do you know that if you look at MSDNC and if you look at fake news CNN, do you know they don't even talk about General Flynn today? And yet, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, when he was under persecution, not prosecution, persecution, when they were persecuting him, he made up their whole show. And now that they find out he's totally innocent, because you look at this and more is coming out, they find out he's innocent, they don't even talk about it. You don't even see a soundbite that the man is innocent. Yeah. It's a disgrace. He's an innocent man, and one way or the other, he's innocent. And you know what that means. One way or the other, he's innocent. But hopefully he can be exonerated fully, because they have to give his right back. They've destroyed him. They've destroyed his family. Now, ultimately, they were looking to destroy the presidency. They were looking to destroy a duly elected president who beat the hell out of a horrible candidate called Crooked Hillary. And now, fortunately, we have another horrible candidate, frankly, a far worse candidate who, you know, I don't even know if he's going to be the candidate, to be honest. I don't know that that's going to happen. But, you know, let's hope so. Let's see what they do. Sleepy Joe.
Well, will you be asking Attorney General Barr, when this is said and done, to be looking into this and Director Wray to make sure that this never happens again?
Well, he is. I mean, look, this stuff came from Attorney General
He's
Barr.
doing a great job.
This didn't come from anywhere. Remember when he was on Laura 2 weeks ago, the whole world got shaken up. He just gives a very simple answer. He's a very cool guy, actually.
I like that.
You know, he gives like this little answer, and then Laura, who's great, she goes on to the next question, and then she goes, whoa, wait, what did you just say? You know, she goes back, because he gave a very strong answer 2 weeks ago, and yet it said so beautifully, and he carries a big stick. He's a strong guy, Bill. He's doing a great job. I'll tell you what, you're going to see what a good job he's doing. And I let him do it. I don't get involved. I say, Bill, you have to do what's right. I can get involved. You know, in theory, I'm the chief law enforcement. I can. But I think it's better if I don't. And, you know, so far, I think that. But I can legally I can get involved. Legally, I can head it up. But I am, wait till you see what's happening. And again, I let the professionals handle it. But Bill Barr is a total professional, and I think people are going to see things. We hope Lindsey starts with his Judiciary Committee. I mean, that should get going. That really should get going. He's got so much information. You could go on for years, the information he's got. That Comey report, 78 pages from Horowitz, was a fantastic report. I have a lot of respect for Horowitz. He did a fantastic job on that. And, you know, he's a Democrat. He was appointed by a Democrat, but he's been very fair. That was a 78-page kill of Comey and McCabe. They did a report on him, and we'll see what happens. But Bill Barr is doing a very good job, and that information is you can view that as Bill Barr. I mean, that was terrible. What nobody can even believe what they're seeing, and the other networks don't even, any of them. The big net, you know, the main networks, NBC is a disgrace. NBC, I think, is worse than. I think it's more fake. You know, it's Comcast. I call them Concast with an N. They're disgraceful. That they can use free public airwaves and give fake news all night long. And just as much on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. He's another beauty. Now, it's so much fake news. It's hard to explain to your audience how fake it is. And, you know, the hard part, you understand this better than anybody. I know it's fake because I'm in it. An audience member sitting out there, somebody, one of our citizens sitting out there listening, they don't know it's fake because they have no idea. But I do things that in many cases are so good, and they'll make them look so bad. And in some cases, I'll do something wrong. I don't mind. Okay, let them report it correctly. But we do great things, and they like ventilators. Everything was ventilators. We had virtually no ventilators, a big thing. We now are the king of it. We have mobilized this country, and now we're giving them to other countries. You don't hear anything about that. They were killing us on you know, when I took over, the cupboard was bare. We didn't have medical supplies and all of the things that we should have had under the Obama administration. So we did a good job. You don't hear about it. But the press is just very dishonest. They're the enemy of the people.
The decision to fire Jim Comey's looking better by the day, also, Mr. President. So.
Well, I think if I didn't fire him, I probably wouldn't be here. He was leading, along with others, including people that were above him. And you understand that very well. It's impossible for him to have done it himself. I think Jim Comey is turning out to be a very stupid man who is... You take a look at that report. Just anybody reads that 78-page report, you learn a lot about Jim Comey. But I think he's a dummy. He's a dumb person. He got caught trying to overthrow the president of the United States, and he should pay a big price for that.
Well, Mr. President, thank you so much for your time. It is really an honor for you to come back and join our show here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everything you're doing, getting us through this crisis. Really appreciate your leadership. Your go-get-em businessman style, I think, is exactly what we needed right now. So thank you, sir. We deeply appreciate it.
I want to thank you for doing just an incredible job. You're really a voice, both of us, a voice in the wilderness. And there are some of us, and I'll tell you what, we're getting between Sean and Laura and plenty of other people. We're getting the word out, and we're getting it out strong. And you know, the people get it, Dan. The people really get it. They see it. And Gallup just came out with a poll where I'm leading Biden, and pretty substantially too, especially on important elements. But you know, they don't put it out. And Gallup is no friend of mine. Believe me, they got the first one wrong. Yeah. And they came out with a poll I'm leading. You never hear that stuff. It's all fake. They make it all up. They literally make everything. They make so much up. So I just want to thank you. You've been a friend of mine in the sense, and by the way, Dan, you've been a friend of mine in the sense that you're honest and you're a pro, and therefore you're a friend of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Thanks again for joining us. Take care.
You take care.